Okay, good morning. So in this video, I want to walk you through exactly how we built just over 1 million impressions for our clients in the last 30 days on ChatGPT. Now, I want to show you exactly how to build an AI SEO strategy, what you're probably doing wrong and where you should focus your time. Because the reality is, it's not as hard as it seems. It's not that complicated, and any brand should start building it and can start doing the basics. I have a community below. It's a Skool community, and I think it's going to be super useful if you want to start building out your AI SEO. It's completely free and really just trying to add a bit more valuable content below on there with all sorts of stuff about kind of how to build your AI SEO strategy, how to get found on ChatGPT, more about the future of SEO, how you can automate SEO. So I think there's some really valuable stuff there. So please, if you like this video, go check it out. Like I say, it's for free. There's nothing to lose. Okay, let's jump into the video and show you what we have done. Okay, first things first, I just want to hop in to this Figma board to kind of explain a little bit about how this stuff works. First things first is I think we've got to identify what I am going to call old-fashioned SEO. I call it old-fashioned SEO because I think it's still a service which most agencies operate, but I believe it's old-fashioned because I believe this is now a baseline for SEO. I'm not saying that none of this stuff does anything anymore, but I don't believe it differentiates yourself. And when we're talking about getting onto ChatGPT and the top of Google, what we really need now is to be the top authority source in our niche. So I think this stuff, it needs to be done, but it's not the only thing that can be done. So if your SEO at the moment is looking like this, you need to make a change, because here we're talking about doing a keyword research, doing your on-page SEO, kind of rewriting your content, doing a bit of technical SEO, writing a blog post every week, buying some links to build authority on that, and then tracking it all and going in a circle and doing the same thing. This, I think, is outdated, and I know it's what most people are still doing for SEO. It's what 99% of agencies are still offering for SEO, but this is the very basic stuff that honestly should be automated in your pipeline. I want to pull this up because I think this is super interesting, and this explains essentially where ChatGPT pulls its answers from. It also explains basically how Google ranks content. So look, both of these things come down to this. It's about how we build authority across the web. When we look about where AI gets its answers, it's pulling from all sorts of different sources across the web. When we look at how Google ranks, it's again looking for authority. So it's looking across the web. Do these people have expertise? Do they have authority? And can we trust them? Okay, how's it doing that? It's looking across LinkedIn profiles. It's looking across any high domain authority sources it can find and scoring you and working out, are you a trustworthy source? ChatGPT is the exact same. It's going into content. It's looking on Google. It's looking on YouTube. It's looking on LinkedIn, Quora, Reddit, Pinterest, whatever. And it's saying, are these people trustworthy? So this is the kind of premise of what we need to be focusing on here. It's authority. Now, that's why I'm saying to brands, like, forget having an SEO strategy or an AI SEO strategy. You need to have a strategy which is building you authority, okay? So we're going to jump into authority slightly later, but let's just talk about a few things, firstly, which are super important to even appear on AI SEO. These are just basics you need to have in place and things that need to get sorted. Number one is going to be having a successful schema markup implementation. What that means is essentially, when AI bots are crawling sites, we are giving them a piece of meta information, which is essentially an HTML tag, which tells them a bit more information about our site. If you can have that embedded onto your site, and bear in mind, Squarespace have easy ways of implementing this. Ask ChatGPT, go and put in, I built my site on Wix, on WordPress, on Webflow, whatever. I want to implement schema markup. How do I do it? It will do it for you. It will write the schema markup. You can go ahead and implement it. It's super simple, but you need to have this kind of technical thing sorted in order to be ranking and found by AI models. The next thing after that, and this is not available to everyone, but I really recommend if you can do this, would be have a Wikipedia strategy. So what a Wikipedia strategy allows us to do is essentially be on one of the most high domain authority sources on the web. So if we look at Wikipedia, obviously we see Wikipedia, AI models see the back end of Wikipedia, which is called Wikidata. If you're on Wikidata, if your company's on Wikipedia, Wikidata, whatever, you are just classed as a much more high domain authority speaker, source, again, helping to build authority. Now, those are two things which if you have in place, great. Everyone can have number one in place. Some people will be able to get number two in place as well. But I want to spend the majority of this video talking about what I believe to be the most important strategy to build authority. And to build authority in 2025 as a brand, you need to have multi-channel sources building your authority. Now, we've broken this down into something called the authority funnel, and you can see it here. 4 really simple stages. We've got research, we've got make, we've got remake, and we've got engage. Now, what does this actually mean? Let's break it down. Okay. Starting by research. Now, when we're talking about traditional SEO, we're normally going to go onto something like SEMrush and do our keyword research. What I want you to do here is do a more holistic overview when we're talking about keyword research. What I mean by that is I want you to be able to answer the following questions. Simply, what are people talking about? What questions are people asking? What's the trend and what are the bottlenecks? Like right now in SEO, I can tell you that, for example, Perplexity pages is quite a big thing people are talking about. Reddit's a big thing people are talking about. Obviously, AI SEO as a topic is a big thing we're talking about. And I don't know that from going on to SEMrush and looking at keyword data. I think this idea of just looking at keyword data is quite old-fashioned. And the real thing we should be doing now is looking across LinkedIn, looking at what people are talking about on Reddit and Quora, looking at what videos people are posting on YouTube, and then using kind of data-filled sources like Answer the Public and Data for SEO to back all this up. If you have a super extensive keyword research platform and keyword research methodology, then you are really going to understand much better than the competitors who are just looking at data. What are people talking about? What problems are people facing? Most importantly, what is the trend in your industry? What's going on? So I think you really, really need to have a good understanding of that. So let's say, for example, I'm going to take the SEO industry, and I know people are talking a lot about AI SEO. I'm going to go ahead and write a blog post on this, right? So I'm going to write a blog post about what is AI SEO, okay? We can see Squarespace have done this. I believe SEMrush have also done this. And when you're writing this content, I believe that it is beneficial to have a human copywriter, someone who is like really, really knows what they're doing and can write really, really successfully. But also I believe you could have probably 80-90% of it automated and just have that human copywriter touch up the final bits. If you want to write it fully with AI, fine, but make sure you've kind of got a good strategy behind it. You're not just chucking information into ChatGPT and expecting a blog. You're doing proper research and you're kind of feeding that back into ChatGPT. But ideally, we have this kind of combination of a human copywriter and an AI bot writing this content. You could do that once per week. And again, make sure we've implemented that schema markup and publish this onto your site. Now, notice essentially these first 2 stages are what over here I just called the old-fashioned way of doing SEO, right? This kind of keyword research and then writing content and then going in a circle. So I'm not being hypocritical here because I'm saying what we're talking about here is a slightly advanced version, but it's still the baseline, okay? Many, many brands are doing this, and to kind of get on top of everyone else, you need to be having a look at stages 3 and stages 4. Okay, so what are they? This is about remaking. And what we're doing here is taking that core content and we are repurposing it. Now, brands who have a successful way of repurposing content, are using the right tools, using the right strategy, are simply going to win. And the reason is because they have multi-channel authority. So take that blog post, okay, and turn it into a YouTube video. Spend 10 minutes doing what I'm doing, filming, get that edited, get that published automatically, and then go ahead and repurpose that into shorts, okay? Shorts across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and repurpose that YouTube video into shorts. Then we can create a LinkedIn carousel out of this core content. We can create a Medium blog post. We can repurpose this into multiple different channels. Now, why is this important? Why should we do this? Well, let's go straight back to the start, which I showed you here, okay? Where AI gets its answers, okay? Reddit, Wikipedia, YouTube, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Quora, Instagram will be somewhere. Pinterest, there's Instagram. Yeah, so literally it is looking across multiple sources, and brands who appear across these multiple sources are going to be scraped more. They're going to be more information pulled in about their brand, about your name through ChatGPT. Now, it's not just AI models, it's also Google. Go back to like the principle Google has laid out since day one: expertise, authority, and trust. Okay, EAT. That's what we're doing here. We are publishing high quality sources, high quality information, and we're repurposing it across the web. That's how you build trust, that's how you build authority, and that's how you show you've got expertise, okay? So this repurposing strategy is super, super important. Another plug into that into that Skool community below. We have really good automations and strategies and tools which you can use for free to help you repurpose content and do this successfully. Also to write blog posts. So definitely, if you want to start this, go check that out below. Okay. Finally, we've repurposed, and then we're going to engage, okay? So engage is super important, and this is what I mean by basically going to your ICP and your niche and engaging. I think the best place to engage is Reddit, and number 2 would be Quora. Okay, these communities, people are constantly having conversations, they're asking questions, and they're having discussions about your industry. So for example, here, how do you optimize for AI? How I write content using SEO content using AI. People are talking about the thing I have just built authority across on other platforms, the thing I've just spent ages writing a blog post about. So I now have everything I need to go ahead and just speak with authority here, mention my brand name, kind of implement it nichely, and be able to build authority across these sources. Now, especially Reddit now is super, super important. It is being cited slightly less by ChatGPT, but it's still being pulled quite a lot, kind of similar rate to Wikipedia. So it's still important. We are going back to these communities and engaging with the content and acting as the source with authority. Now you might say, like, what does this look like? Well, somewhere on this massive document, I have that. Let's have a look at what Revolutionary Leg 514 posted on Reddit. This was a discussion about cold email, and I think they've mastered this really nicely. Someone was asking kind of in this discussion, how do you write a cold email? They go ahead, they provide plenty of value here as to how you do it. And then for tools, I've used GMassland and Instantly, okay? GMassland will be their brand and their tool. Instantly will most likely not be their brand, but they're kind of mixing it in to make it seem more natural. Because you've got to be careful on Reddit about how you kind of put yourself forward and pitch your brand. Again, okay, so same discussion. This is about here's what worked for me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then +5 is going to be their tool. Again, LinkedIn Sales Nav is most likely not their tool, but they're mixing it in for kind of extra credibility. And this is information that is being pulled from ChatGPT. So this is what you want to look for. Okay, so last thing is last. Once we have engaged, you can repeat this strategy and you can do it every week. I would recommend 1 blog post a week, 1 high quality blog post, and repurposing that across channels. And that is how you build authority. Now, I also believe we kind of have a small window now where this strategy works incredibly well. And this is something you want to implement ASAP. So get this strategy in place. This is exactly obviously what we do for clients as well. So check my link out in the description if this is something you are interested in implementing. And then again, have a look at the Skool community if you're looking for some free resources. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope this was helpful because this is working and you should definitely be implementing this ASAP. All right, cheers. Bye-bye.